Industrial Solutions to Climate Change by Miklos Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank and congratulate IESCO, the Indonesian House of Representatives, the Climate Change Committee of ICAP, the Indonesian Bali government, and the Sukarno Center for organizing this Second World Ecological Safety Assembly. And I'd like to thank Gustavo Carvajal, who invited me to the COPAL ICAP meeting in Mexico this year, where I had the opportunity to meet the Director General of IESCO, Jiang Mingjun, who graciously invited me to participate in this forum. Our planet is in peril. Our future is not only uncertain, but it is greatly threatened. In recent decades, we have seen the manifestations of our careless actions. Due to increased levels of greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere, the global average temperature has increased by more than 0.8 degrees Celsius over the last century. The decade of 2000 to 2010 was the warmest on record. Scientists have continually demonstrated the positive correlation between rising global temperatures and changes in weather and climate that have a negative effect on the ecosystem and in turn humanity. We have seen the worst of the damage: droughts, heat waves, and wildfires, extreme rainfall, floods, and coastal flooding, tropical cyclones, coastal storms, and erosion, not to mention its negative consequences on health and the social-political issues: access to clean air, agriculture and water sanitation, climate-sensitive diseases and epidemics, and the social-political consequences of insufficient resources such as water, food, shelter, and relief provisions. Only a week ago, the World Meteorological Organization released an alarming report. An Arctic area of ice bigger than the United States melted this year, a staggering 11.83 million square kilometers. In North America, Hurricanes Katrina and Sandy alone claimed nearly 2,000 lives and displaced thousands more, costing over $152 billion in damages. In Europe, the heat wave that hit the continent in the summer of 2003 cost the European Union an estimated 13 billion euros for the agricultural sector alone, and death tolls reached approximately 35,000. In Africa, drought and heat waves are major threats to the population and affect the availability of scarce resources. Between 2003 and 2004, drought cost the Namibian government approximately $45 million in emergency relief provision. In Asia, Mumbai's severe flooding in July of 2005 affected households across the city, accounting for $700 million in damages. The deadly 23-foot tsunami that hit Japan left 15,839 dead and another 9,592 either injured or missing, and a nuclear plant disaster that evacuated more than 200,000 residents. And in Australia, the 2009 Black Saturday bushfires killed 173 and injured 414 more in a single day. Approximately 400 individual fires were recorded. It is clear that this is a problem that does not discriminate. The negative effects of climate change transcend borders, cultures, and socioeconomic differences. It is a global issue that affects everyone. It is for this reason that we must act as a unified force to combat this threat. There must be active cooperation between government and political entities, academia, researchers, and inventors, and small, medium, and large enterprises from the private sector. Action must be taken through enforceable legislation and reform, scientific research and the development of clean technologies, and to close the cycle, the investment and application of these technologies on part of the private sector. I congratulate IESCO for organizing WEFA. These types of forums are a step in the right direction. From the perspective of a researcher, inventor, and entrepreneur, I would like to share with you today my contribution towards making a significant impact on ending man-made climate change once and for all. Before the Industrial Revolution, the concentration of CO2 in the Earth's atmosphere was approximately 280 parts per million. Today, the concentration has reached over 380 parts per million, far exceeding the natural range of 180 to 300 parts per million over the past 650,000 years. Some technologies have attempted to deal with our excess of CO2 in the atmosphere. Some propose simply reducing the amount of CO2 emitted through carbon credits or cap and trade, but there is still no international regulation enforcing this. Others propose capturing CO2 and isolating it, but this can be inefficient and costly. What Ecoplant proposes is a sustainable, cost-effective, and original solution to climate change. Welcome to the heart of Ecoplant, Industrial Solutions to Climate Change by Miklos Technology. Ecoplant is a CO2 capture and transformation process that produces pure and clean calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, or lithium carbonate. The technology is an industrial solution that requires low energy consumption and has a high return on investment. Ecoplant's objective is to reduce CO2 emissions from industry and transportation activities, recycling the CO2 into chemicals for industrial use. The CO2 goes through a chemical procedure and then through a process of crystallization, grinding, and drying. The first step is to divert the greenhouse gases derived from combustion processes in industry and transportation activities towards the Ecoplant facility with the help of a ducted fan. The combustion gases enter the absorber device, where they are there sprayed in a counter-current direction with a sodium hydroxide solution. The advanced nozzles then pulverize the solution into a fine spray that helps it blend with the combustion gases within the absorber device. The sodium hydroxide solution's fine droplets interact with the combustion gases and capture the CO2 particles, separating the CO2 from the other combustion gases. The sodium hydroxide solution, along with the CO2 particles, are disposed of at the bottom of the absorber, where they can be collected and then passed through pipes towards the processing tanks. After being processed through a series of tanks, we obtain a high solids liquid, which is then filtered in a rotary vacuum filter drum, extracting the solids and separating it from the liquids. The liquid sodium hydroxide separated from the solids can be used again in the process. The filtered solids are then cleaned with a brand dryer in order to extract any excess humidity. The dry product is then ready to be packaged and sold. Depending on the desired product, calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, or lithium carbonate, the solution is mixed with other chemicals and additives, minimally modifying the chemicals and equipment needed to carry out the process. Open the door, improve the environment, and financially profit from it. Ecoplant's technology can be installed in any type of factory that emits greenhouse gases from burners and internal combustion engines. One application is installing Ecoplant in a company's installations and offer the service of capturing and cleaning the plant's greenhouse gas emissions in order to simply reduce their carbon footprint. Another application is installing Ecoplant in a company's installations and for the plant itself to use the technology to recycle the plant's CO2 emissions and convert it into chemicals that can be recycled and incorporated into the company's own processes. The industrial use of these outputs are unlimited. Calcium carbonate can be used for manufacturing cement, paper, paint, pharmaceutical products, diapers, PVC cables, adhesives, sealants, and decorating fillers, ceramic glaze, and drilling fluid for the oil industry. Magnesium carbonate is a flame retardant used for manufacturing refractory bricks, fireproof construction material, cosmetics, toothpaste, cotton and rug textiles, cigarette paper, paint, pharmaceutical products, and table salt. Lithium carbonate is used in the production of glass used in high-temperature spaces, for instance ovens, ceramic glaze, processing aluminium, batteries for electric vehicles, solar panels, wind generators, as well as rechargeable batteries for multiple use, including laptops, computers, and watch batteries. With Ecoplant, a fully functioning plant can absorb 16,800 tons of CO2 emissions a year and produce 38,207.23 tons of calcium carbonate, 32,094.38 tons of magnesium carbonate, and 28,276.8 tons of lithium carbonate in a year. Ecoplant's CO2 capture and transformation model can process 10,000 cubic meters per hour of greenhouse gases. The technology requires $615,280 of investment and produces a net profit of $20 million in 10 years. Its return on investment is 59% after taxes. The original investment is recovered in 6 months, while the total capital investment is recovered in 22.86 months. It is clear that the cost of doing nothing is high. Weather and climate disasters caused by climate change have high economic and human costs we simply cannot afford. And these costs are only continuing to escalate. If we can't afford it right now, we definitely cannot afford it in 50 years' time. In order to ensure ecological safety, truly sustainable development, and economic growth for the entire planet, real and enforceable action must be taken. Only through technological innovation and international cooperation can we succeed in tackling the problem and securing a bright future for generations to come. It is important for us to use these types of forums to implement real change. In the case of clean technologies like Ecoplant, supporting innovation is crucial. We must create a support network for researchers and inventors so that they can continue innovating state-of-the-art technologies that not only reduce our carbon footprint, but also create green jobs, contribute to the global green economy, and provide an economic incentive for profit-driven corporations. It is our job to make sustainable growth and ecological safety high priorities for every actor involved in the equation. The Director General of YESCO, Jiang Mingjun, quoted Lao Tzu in his welcome letter, who emphasized harmony between humans and nature and the laws of nature. This is a very important message, and I'd like to complement it with another quote that is a favorite of mine. Those that say it can't be done should get out of the ways of those who are doing it. Thank you.